If you saw my video last week about the Eclipse protocol, you basically know that I was using the Airburst Seeker because I said it was the best skill for spreading a status effect, and that basically is true. But I did get a lot of feedback regarding what other people are using. So, some people prefer the chem launcher, or other people were asking about the fire sticky bomb. So I just wanted to talk about the Airburst Seeker mine and basically just explain the benefits of this skill and also talk about some of the negatives, the shortcomings, and all that stuff. Reasons why people aren't using it, but more importantly, reasons why I am using it and not other skills. As many of you know from the video, my Seeker Mine does have a 26.4 second burn duration, which is one of the biggest benefits of this skill. Now, when you compare it to something like the incinerator turret, which only has a burn duration of 10.6 seconds for the same build, you can kind of see that it's not really the ideal choice for a build like this. Now, I'm not saying it's bad. I'm not saying that there is no use for it whatsoever. There could be a use for the incinerator turret with this build, but it has a very limited burn duration, and again, it probably has the worst burn damage of any of the fire skills. When you move into the firestarter chem launcher, you can see that the burn duration is only 11 seconds. The burn damage is still pretty good, but the main benefit of this skill is basically just the ammo. So if you are a very terrible shot, you need to rapidly fire this stuff on different targets, then that is the benefit of this skill. But overall, the stats on it are just not as good as the Airburst Seeker Mine. And the final skill that I hear quite a bit about is the burn sticky bomb. Now, I'm not sure on the burn duration because when it spreads, I still have seen it sometimes actually proc for 10 seconds again. So I don't quite understand if there's maybe like some sort of small error with the skill, but whatever. The damage is good and the duration is all right, and it's most people have an easy time aiming it, just quick firing it. Me personally, I miss with this skill all the time, and a lot of the times when I actually even hit an enemy, sometimes they don't even take any damage or catch on fire. So I think there's a little bit of errors with this skill, and that's one of the reasons that I just don't like it. Now, just to show you guys, what I did was I ended up testing this skill. I went to the same mission, the same area, just to see how I could proc this skill and basically, use them. So the first one I did was the incinerator turret. Now you can see, it does the same thing, and that all skills do, right? It sets the enemies on fire. It does damage. They burn, but because it has the low duration and the low damage, the second tick doesn't even kill the red bars. The next skill that I'll show you is the firestarter chem launcher. Now, obviously, yeah, it's a good option just because of the ammo count, like I said. And if you look at the fire damage, it does good damage, and it does kill a good amount of the enemy. But you can see that it just doesn't have the ability to kill enemies that are higher than a red bar. So it really lacks that power that you need for some content. Now, with the burn sticky, it definitely seems like it is a good choice. It does lay into enemies really well, and the duration drop is not as dramatic as the firestarter chem launcher or the incinerator turret, and it's still doing enough damage to actually kill a lot of these enemies. And you can see here it does continue to spread over and over again, which is very beneficial for this gear set. That's actually what you want. That's pretty much the whole reason. If you're not using that benefit, then there's no point to actually using this gear set, right? That's what you're going for: status effects that kill and spread. But when you get to the Airburst Seeker Mine, it's hard to deny that it just has more power and more duration and gives you that ability to just keep setting enemies on fire. Even if the last enemy you hit is a yellow bar, you still have the potential to drop them with just the skill alone. So I think it's safe to say that the firestarter chem launcher and the incinerator turret are probably not the best status effects for this build, which means that the two best candidates remaining are the burn sticky and the Airburst Seeker. The key thing to note is once you actually start getting into realistic enemy encounters where you're not just fighting all reds, the burn sticky just does not have the power to bring down enemies by itself. The duration is too low. So if you get stuck with a yellow or a purple and you can't kill them in time, then you're basically not spreading that fire. And that's the whole point. You're trying to spread this fire over and over and over again. So you want to have the longer duration, which is why the Airburst Seeker is just so much more powerful in my book, because you're not building a DPS build. You're not trying to shoot all these enemies just to spread it. Now, you can assist your skills. That's obviously, part of the game. But the whole intention of this skill is to have a really strong status effect. So why would you not want to choose the strongest status effect in the game? So real quick, let's just look at the skills themselves. Alright, so the incinerator turret is area denial. That's pretty much its purpose. And for a skill like this, you don't want area denial. You want strong status effects that spread and burn everyone and kill everyone. So incinerator turret does not do that. The firestarter chem launcher is not designed to be the end-all be-all status effect. It is pretty much designed to be, rapid reacquisition of different targets. It is designed to basically be spread manually to these different targets. A lot of the damage comes from its initial burst. Well, the point of this build is not to constantly be reapplying status effects to different targets. It's basically to have your status effect get spread from the gear set itself. So I don't really think that the chem launcher is the greatest skill. The burn sticky is pretty much a middle ground between the firestarter chem launcher and the airburst seeker. But the only real benefit of the burn sticky is the fact that you can quick fire it. I mean, that's pretty much the only point of it. If it wasn't for that, the skill itself would pretty much just be mediocre. So I mean, it's not really that beneficial of a skill. Now, when we get into the airburst, obviously a lot of people complain about the mechanics of using it. I fully understand. It is not the easiest skill to use. It's a little bit slow to deploy it. It takes time to actually get to its area, and it's a lot of the time, the enemy can get away from it if they're actually, paying attention, if they're already engaged in combat. But the thing is, if you hit the enemy before they are aware of your presence, you now have the ability to spread that 26-second burn to any enemies that come after. So you don't have to worry about using it again because it is that strong. So while it may take you a little bit of time to get used to the airburst, if you want to spread status effects, you want to spread the strongest status effect. And if you are going for burn damage, if you are going for crowd control ability with this fire, then you know what? This skill is probably the best option in the game. But with this gear set, because you can spread that damage over and over and over again to every enemy and not have to worry about targeting all the time, this basically takes away the biggest disadvantage of this skill. So all it takes is you hitting one enemy with that skill, and you end up spreading the single greatest strength of this skill to every enemy in the area. But thank you guys for watching. I'll see you in the next one.